Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this episode number 19 of Tales of Escuria. We're getting awfully close to 20. I didn't think we'd make it this far, but we're here. So, as always, just to say, we are in association with and presented by Horsham Gamers. We are a local group who cover the full range of gaming interests, from tabletop and roleplay stuff like this, through board games, esports, arcade, competitive gaming, anything you can think of. If it's to do with gaming or nerd culture, we're interested in it too. And we would like to meet some of you. So if you could pop along to Horsham Gamers on Facebook or on Discord, or you could at us on Twitter. We'd love to speak to some of you, and we're a rapidly growing community. There's lots and lots of people to talk to, and we'd love to meet you. So, without further ado, let's get into this episode of Tales of Escuria. So, we fade in on the exterior of a boat. We kind of pan across the side of it, and you can see painted in kind of flaking white and blue paint the name Queen of Thorns. And as we kind of move along, we go along the side of this boat. We can hear it gently creaking as it pulls on the ropes at the quayside. And we can see in through one of the various different portholes. We kind of zoom through, and we can see Oda Torbury. Please describe yourself.
I am Oda Torbury. I am a Shadowkai from Circle of the Moon. And I have a past that has kind of shaken me a little bit. And so I'm taking a break from the pirate life and seeing how things pan out.
Okay.
What did you say? The moon?
Circle of the
what?
Moon.
Circle of the Moon, right. Okay.
So, as we kind of come in through this porthole, we can see Oda Torbury in the midst of kind of one of the few moments of relaxation that you get. You're alone in your quarters. What do you do when you're alone in your quarters, Odie?
Sorry, say that question again. I didn't hear you.
What do you get up to when you are kind of left to your own devices?
You're not supposed to ask a lady that, girl.
Only highbrow content here at Horsham Gamers. Thank you, Robin.
Sorry.
Well, clear the browsing history. So, I sort of, I read what I can. I practice my skills because I know I need that in order to survive should the time come to it. And I try and socialize when I can as well, because I know I'm not the most, suppose. I'm finding it hard to make friends because, I've lived in a very peaceful, draining life before I branched out into the world. So I'm seeing how it goes.
Okay. So we see you in the midst of reading from a scroll. It's nothing particularly interesting. It's just some histories that you'd picked up in one of the various ports that you'd gone into before. But as you are reading, you can hear coming along one of the inner corridors that leads to your quarters. You can hear the heavy thumping steps that kind of shake the boat and seem to tip it from side to side, that alert you to the fact that the captain is coming to see you about something. What do you do?
I put down my scroll and I get into position.
Okay. So after a little while, the thumping steps kind of reach the outside of your door. And you can see just faintly kind of large foot shadows coming from the gaps under the door from some of the lantern light inside. And the door opens, and looking up, you can see an extremely large, probably about 9 feet tall, and probably almost about as wide, troll-looking creature. It has 2 heads, one of which appears to currently be asleep. And you can see it stands there and looks down at you and gives you just this, like, steely glare. And then, panning down, we see the captain. A small halfling fellow, wearing bright blue with gold brocade and various different tassels and badges, steps forward. He has this lovely flowing golden hair, and he has a very, very well-waxed moustache that looks probably so sharp he could stab someone with it if he wanted to. And he steps forward and he's just like, "Oh, de Torbre, oh, it is wonderful. I'm glad that you are still in your quarters and still awake. I require something of you. May I come in?"
Yes, absolutely, of course.
Very well, very well. He steps inside and he turns around and looks up at the troll-looking fellow and he just says, "That will be all, Tiny. I will see you later."
Tiny.
And then he walks into your room and just walks directly up to your desk and starts looking at the scroll that you've just been reading. And he just kind of like chuckles to himself a little, just like, "Oh, the histories. I personally am very fond of the naval histories, as you know. This kind of thing doesn't really match up. I do like a bit of excitement in my reading, but to each their own, I suppose. Well, I should rather get to the point. You've probably noticed, as have I, that things have been a little bit tumultuous since we arrived here. A lot of hubbub and hullabaloo. Well, I have just received word from one of the various sailors that apparently the local lord is dead. Murdered, it seems. Now, this presents a very, very sad state of affairs, because I had a deal with him. Of course, you see, it is difficult for us to make safe passage and to offload our goods here, because House Varin tend to be a little bit unwilling to deal with people of our profession. And I had managed to strike a deal that would allow us to offload our goods safely, but it seems that I might not be able to finally close on that deal. And I hear they're planning on electing a new leader soon. So, seeing as you have some skills in going unnoticed, I would rather like you to attend this meeting and to find out who this new lord is going to be, and perhaps see if you can put in a good word for the kind fellows of the Queen of Thorns, and see if perhaps we can keep that deal going with whoever comes to power next. Does that make sense? I can't hear you, Carrie.
Oh, sorry. I'll do what I can. I'll make sure I'll go unnoticed.
Very good, very good. Well, I suppose I better go and have some supper. Smell of charcoal on the air. Smoked fish, that's perfect. Well, ta-ra for now. And he kind of hops off the bed and strolls off out of the cabin again. You can hear after a little while the thumping footsteps as Tiny and Captain Creve leave. And you are given some time to yourself to figure out exactly what it is that you want to do. In the meantime, we'll head back over to the Church of Lolth. Now, Vixen, you had just finished interrogating the once alive remains of Thaniel.
Yeah.
And you had previously said that you wanted to gather some people to have a sermon or similar.
Yes.
So I think just after you have finished talking with Thaniel, and you can see that all of the colour has now fully drained from the body, you hear a tentative knock at the door, which is still slightly open. And you look over, and you can see, just kind of poking her head in, is the black-haired and very neatly braided black beard of Moira, kind of like peeking round the side, just going like, hope I'm not interrupting anything. Is that? Can I come in?
Yes, Moira, please do come in.
Okay. She steps inside and kind of like gently pushes the door to without fully closing it, and walks up to see you. And she, as she kind of approaches the body of Thaniel, you can see her kind of looking a bit more kind of anxious, and she kind of, as soon as she can, skirts around the side to come and talk to you. So I've been putting the word out as best I can, and I think I might have a fair few of the properly faithful to come hear you. I told them in 10 minutes, if that's okay.
10 minutes?
You didn't give a specific time, and we've got the Lordsmoot happening this evening, and I didn't know what to do, so I just came up with a time.
Okay, do you think you can help me wrap this body up?
You can see her just kind of like look down at it and look back up at you, and then she's just like, I mean, wrapping it up, probably. I haven't really got that much, and you see her kind of like pull up like her tiny dwarf arms, like kind of lacking the upper body strength to do much more, but I can wrap it up if there's is there a carpet or something?
Can I make a check and see if there's anything I can wrap him up with?
Sure, make a perception check. Or actually, investigation.
Brilliant.
Could use curtains or something if there are some.
Investigation.
Or sheets.
You look around a little bit, and you can see that there is a kind of like an ornate sheet that has been draped over the altar. It's got like various different like silken symbols put into it, a mixture of arcane symbols, and the humongous spiderweb symbol of Lolth right down the center of it.
Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to wrap that around him with the spider symbol right on top, so it's really nicely done and ornate and beautiful, and looks respectful. And then we're going to sort of hoik him onto the altar.
Okay. Yep, easy enough to do. There's a brief moment when you can see Moira is just like, are you sure that we're allowed to do that? I mean, it's a holy relic, and then she kind of like looks at you and sees like your humongous symbol of Lolth Silk Mother thing, and is just like, I'll just let you do. Okay.
Thanks.
You do most of the kind of hoiking of lifting him up, and she basically kind of like pushes the feet from underneath, and you manage to put him on the altar pretty easily. About kind of 2 or 3 minutes has passed doing that, and you can already hear like people kind of gathering outside. Moira just kind of like looks at you and is just like, should we let them in, or?
Yes, absolutely. Go let them in, and usher them to the seats.
Okay. Whew.
Oh, if you see Serena out there, could you usher her to me?
I think Serena's probably in custody at this point. She was with the other bunch. I doubt they'll be letting them come out to go to church. Let's put it that way.
No, that's true. That's a good point. Right. All right. I'll have to
Did you
think
need
about
her
that
for
one
something
afterwards.
specific, or just?
I did really, but I'll work that out later. Thanks, Moira. Let everyone.
Okay. And you see she sets off a dwarven sprint, which is akin to a light jog for most people, and walks up to the large doors and kind of pulls them open, and you can see people start to kind of filter in on either side of her without having to say very much, and she's just kind of like politely bowing to as many of them as possible, just saying, "Eat blessings, sir. Eat blessings." Eat blessings. It just kind of like goes on, and she's kind of stuck in this loop of like they're just coming in anyway. But people begin to filter in. You can see that it isn't as many people as you would have maybe liked. The humongous full to the brim, people having to stand at the back days of Glauric's speeches are not quite shaping up for you today. You get the sense that quite a lot of people who might have otherwise been here are busy trying to help with getting things ready for the Lordsmoot. But you have a fair number of some of the older or younger members of the community and a few of the faithful.
Can I see anyone I recognise, like Thorvald?
Yeah, Thorvald is definitely there.
Yes! Okay.
Yeah, and people filter in, take their seats, and you see a fair few of them. Normally, you'd expect them to be kind of chatting amongst themselves and doing this kind of thing, but there's this kind of air of solemnity to it all. People here are very shook by the things that have been happening, so they come in, but they all seem to just kind of go directly to their normal seats and just kind of... A few of them seem to be praying privately, and most seem to just be kind of anxiously looking around.
Okay, all right. I stand in front of the altar, and I look at the crowd. I'm trying to think how to get their attention.
Oh, you don't even have to try. You
Oh, are they all
have
looking at
their
me?
attention.
Oh,
the moment that
brilliant.
you step forward, they're like, "Okay, yes, please tell us what to do."
I'm glad you've all gathered here today for this sermon. It's very special. I'm sure you're all aware of what has happened to Gleric. Anyone who hasn't, raise your hands.
There is, like, maybe a small child raises their hand, and then their mum is just like, "No."
Right, okay. Gleric was a heretic, manipulative and greedy. He led you all, but not for our dark mistress. He is the first of many victims slain in the name of our Night Queen. May his soul forever be bound to her web, for her to feed on for all eternity. His blood is offered in the name of our Mother in the Dark, Lolth the Spider Queen, our goddess. 8 blessings on those that still believe. From the chaos unfolding in the dark, it will embrace us. Our belief will grow ever stronger, ever further, and she has picked her successors to spread her web and belief. I will find them, and I will bring them here to rule the church better, to make sure that everyone is still as devout as they should be.
So you finish your speech, and there's just kind of like this stony silence, and you kind of hear like near the back someone just kind of like coughing. Make a persuasion check
Oh, balls!
with advantage.
Oh, yay!
You didn't expect to be able to get away with that, did you?
It was worth a damn try.
It was a bloody good try.
And remember any
Wait, persuasion or perception?
persuasion.
Oh,
And remember any of the what are they called? Inspiration dice that you
Inspiration
have.
dice.
You can also add as well if you would like.
have I got one?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Hold on,
I
I'll
don't-
scroll back through.
Yeah, I don't even think I looked for last week's to see who got one. I don't know if it was me.
Oh, no,
I got one, and I think
Yeah, Laura got one.
What else? Oh, Okada got one,
Yeah, I was going to
definitely.
say, I think I got one.
Who was the third one? Probably Rickson. Like,
I think
There's a lot of messages. Hold on.
I think it was
it
Vixen.
wasn't so many of us. Ellen wasn't here, so either
Yeah, it
Alessia
would have been
or
Vixen.
But Rickson, yeah.
Yeah. So you do have one Vixen.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, have you made your persuasion check?
Oh, I have now, and with advantage, it's fine.
With 19. Okay. So, the silence kind of continues for a second until you see, like standing up and having to like stand up on the chair itself. You see Thorvald, and he just kind of
That's my man.
and like one by one, like the people start kind of like getting up as well, and they all kind of join in until eventually you see like people the stony face like facade just starts to like melt away, and you can see like a few people probably for the first time today seem to have a little bit of hope. Was there anything
That
else you
warms
wanted
my
to say?
heart. I bow to everybody. I also explain this person who lies behind me is Thaniel. We need to find a way to get Serena and the rest out of the custody of the guards. I feel he needs a proper burial. I don't want him just sitting here on the altar. Does anyone have any ideas?
One of the people just kind of like steps forward, like out of the into the aisle and kind of like bows to you respectfully. But you can see they have this look of confusion on their face, and he just says, "Right, so you said that Glauric was a heretic, and he was like leading us astray and all that. And I mean, I believe you, of course. You are our beloved Silk Mother, but wouldn't that also make Serena and all them lot heretics as well?"
Some of them didn't realize that Gloric was a heretic. He had them tricked. Some may still believe that he wasn't and followed him anyway. We will deal with those people. I truly know from the Night Mother herself that Serena is indeed devout, and I want her fully in charge when I leave the city. I feel that she is the best person for the role. I feel she will know who is devout and will know exactly what to do with who isn't.
Okay, make a persuasion check.
Oh,
I'll
God
give you
damn it.
advantage on this one as well, because you're kind of on a roll. You're building on it.
Oh, thanks.
But to me, this politician,
Right, inspiration die.
just to ask something, she didn't know that Glaric was a heretic, but she will know that anyone else is not a heretic.
I know who isn't a heretic because of last episode.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
Serena.
But Serena, you just said you argued.
No, I said she's devout.
Yeah, but you said she would know who is a heretic and who not.
Well, I think she'd be the best judge of character. She knows people better in the village than I do.
Your decisions, but she believes Glaric.
Hey, leave your political mess to your side, Missy.
I'm just
Stay in your lane.
Argumenting. Like logic,
Nice.
but religion never had to do with anything with that, so
Oh, let's steer away
Exactly.
from that topic of conversation. Let's not. Anyway, would you like to use an inspiration dice on that
Yes,
roll?
please.
Okay, roll a d6 and add it. 17. Not bad.
Much better.
So it takes this guy a second. He just kind of like, okay. I mean, as far as I know, the only person who can let someone go for crimes that they may have committed, the only person who can acquit them is the Salt Lord. So I guess we need to figure out who the Salt Lord is first, and then maybe they'll maybe they'll listen.
I actually might be able to do something about that. Thorvald.
Thorvald kind of jumps down from the chair and wanders forwards. And kind of steps forward, gives a very flourishing bow to you, and then says, "Yes, what can I do, my dear?"
Ah, hello, my friend. It's good to see you.
It is wonderful to see you.
Can you take care of things here for me while I go and deal with this mess and try to get Serena back?
I was meaning to talk to you about something, actually. You remember your friend, the
Yes.
metallic one?
Yes, absolutely.
It lives.
Oh, Thorvald, you are amazing.
I wish I could take all of the credit. Honestly, it's somewhat of a mystery to me. As soon as I managed to work my way around parts of the core, it seemed to start to rearrange itself, and really, it pretty much just did all the work for me as soon as I got it to that point. Of course, it
Fascinating.
took much skill to get to that point, naturally, but I could not claim it all myself.
Thorvald, you're an absolute genius.
Correct, but on that note, there is still work that needs doing on it. Some things which it is incapable of repairing itself, some parts which still need a decent amount of love and care, a little bit of spitshine. I can either be here helping if you think that's more important, of course I will defer to you, or I can be there making sure that your friend is in shipshape. I cannot really do either. It's up to you.
Oh, okay, bugger. Thorvald, who do you know in this room that is very devout to Lolth? That there isn't a chance in your mind that you would ever think them heretic?
He kind of scans around the room a little bit. And after a few seconds, he kind of his eyes kind of rest on Moira, and he just says, "She may be new to the faith, but she seems to take to it quite well."
Yeah, I kind of shook her up in that direction.
That you did.
I think you're right. She's a little shy, but I think she'll do pretty well. Thanks, Thorvald.
Of course.
You go deal with our metallic friend. I'll talk to Moira.
Very well. 8 blessings and exciting.
8 blessings, my friend. Have fun.
He's already kind of like halfway down the aisle, just kind of like waving over his back, just like, You can see people have started to filter out of the room at this point. The conversation has started to kind of build up again between them. People are starting to discuss kind of what their plans are to do next, who's going to go and help with what. People start talking about the Lordsmoot this evening and who exactly they feel like they might want to nominate or vote for. Make a perception check.
Oh, again. Oh, wait, perception.
Perception.
Yes! Roll 20.
17. Okay. You hear the tail end of a conversation between two people. And in the midst of all of the kind of the crowd murmuring to each other, you hear someone mention the name Robert Black.
Robert Black.
Robert Black. And you can hear, you only hear like a little kind of words of this kind of coming out, but you definitely hear Robert Black, nominated, and Lord's Guard. But that's all you can make out before they've kind of left the room, and the sounds of various other conversations kind of rise above it, just kind of the cocktail party murmuring sounds, until eventually it's just you and Moira left in the church.
Moira, I'm going to be off and attend to some business to see if I can't get Serena and the others out of confinement. Do you think you can watch things over the church for me?
Certainly. Well, there's not much to be looking after right now, but I can keep an eye, maybe sweep the floor a little bit. I don't know.
Anything is fine. Just maybe make yourself comfortable. Have a look around, see... I don't know. Check the nooks and crannies. You might find something interesting that could help you in the church. Who knows?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Thank you, Moira. I won't be long. Okay, I turn
Okay.
to leave and head for the Salt Lord.
Okay. So,
Oh, really? I turn to head to Emanora.
So, unless there are any other scenes that people want to play out before we get to the actual Lordsmoot and election stuff itself,
I would have a talk with our half-elf friend Costa.
Yep. Okay, and Kada, you also want to do something?
I would like to go shopping at some point
Okay.
before we leave.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, we'll do the conversation with Costa. We'll do a little shopping montage, and then anything else?
Carrie?
Yes, Carrie?
We
Can't hear you,
We
you're
can't
muted.
hear you.
Unmute
It's
yourself.
gonna be a cat.
Okay.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Can I quickly say that there was one thing I wanted to do as well? Where is Hawk at the moment?
With me and
He'll be in the
puppy.
Sultan's Sarkay, which is probably where Emanora is as well.
And am
Right.
I with Manora?
If you'd like to be, yeah.
Yeah, I think you were with us because you were blocking one of the doors off
yeah, I
when we
think
were.
you
He
were,
was
yeah.
definitely with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going there
And Ellen
first.
as well.
I need to speak to Emanora and I need to speak to Hawk.
Okay. So, in that case, because we'll have those grouped together, yep, Odie, it's pretty easy for you to kind of, after a couple seconds, you kind of focus your energy. You think of what the most, the most blending in form you can think of is right now. And, when you transform, does it, for you, is it just kind of like a magical puff of smoke and now there's a cat there, or is it like an actual like physical transformation thing that happens to you? You're
Is
muted.
it- I'm not muted.
Oh,
Am I muted?
No, you're good
I
now.
was just really quiet.
It just takes time to kick in, I
Too,
think.
too high, too low.
Okay. No, I think it's like a flash.
okay,
I'm a cat.
okay. In which case, we see it kind of from the outside of the of the porthole of the ship. We see like a slight flash of light, kind of faintly purple, and then after a second, we kind of look in and we can see in the spot where Odie had been standing, there is a fairly small cat. What colour is this cat?
This cat is black, but it has white swirls on its two front legs.
Nice.
Cute.
So yeah, you head up through the through the kind of like lower deck of the ship and up onto the top decks. And there's a little rope which kind of leads. It's currently attached to one of the various different kind of hooks on the ship to hold it in place when it's in docks. And you're able to kind of like hop up onto there and like slenderly and gracefully kind of like walk down onto the docks. And you begin your journey into town. Make a perception check for me, please.
A perception check.
Yep.
I just click it, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. It takes a little while for you to get kind of acquainted again. Whenever you transform into an animal, there's kind of a little bit of like breaking it in when you're like, "Ooh, these senses are different and weird." Ugh. But after a little while, you can hear there's a conversation between two guards who are kind of walking back and forth along the docks area, and the general gist of it that you can pick up is that the elections, the Lordsmoot, is going to be happening down in the kind of the village tavern in the Sultan's Sake, which is in the Gold Vale. And as they kind of continue moving along, you can just kind of like hear the very ends of a conversation. One of them's just like, "All right, yeah, I guess we'll go there as soon as we're done with shift. Hey, don't you still owe me a drink?" And it's just like, "Nope, definitely don't owe you a drink. Don't know what you're talking about. Don't worry about it." As they kind of like round a corner, and they seem to pay you no mind. Just another ship's cat. So what would you like to do? You are currently up in the mud docks where all the ships are moored, and the Sultan's Sake is down there.
Do I have any money on me?
You do, but not when you're in your cat form.
Yeah. I wanted to check. I don't see. I might pop into I might stay by the dock for longer to see what I can get from the locals before I head to the tavern.
Okay. Are you trying to like go unnoticed, or are you just kind of wandering around openly, like, "Hey, I'm a cat doing cat things"?
I'm a cat doing cat things. No one will notice me.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
Investigation check. Is that good or bad?
That's not particularly good.
Oh,
Closest
okay.
to 20 as possible. Or
Yeah.
your maximum would be 21.
Yeah. So, as you kind of wander around the docks, you get the impression that it's basically dead on the docks right now. Beyond the people who are on their own ships, it seems that there's just kind of the sailors and the guards who are making sure that no one's stealing anything, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, that's annoying. What time is it? Like, are there any shops open?
Yeah, there's a few shops open. In the kind of Three Bridges district, there's a few shops that seem to still be open. Like a fair number of them seem to be closed, because of some of the violence that has been happening in the town over the last 24 hours or so. But the shop, there's one shop in particular which is definitely open.
What was the last bit of that sentence?
There's one shop in particular that is definitely open right now. As you approach the outside of it... as you approach the outside of it, you can see that there's a great number of chimneys of various different sizes that seem to be belching out different colours of smoke. There's a humongous water wheel that seems to be turning, and various different cogs along the outside of the building. Whereas most of the buildings in this area seem to be kind of cobblestone, this seems to be made from like a very kind of precise stone brick. And the door is currently open, and inside you can hear the sounds of machinery and saws. What would you like to do?
Pop in
Quickly pop in.
and see who's in there.
Okay. So as you hop inside, there's immediately as soon as you kind of step inside, the noises get much, much louder. And you can see, as you're looking around, the shop on the inside seems much larger than the building on the outside was. You can see that there are humongous shelves that seem to go from like floor to ceiling, and that ceiling is about 2 or 3 stories higher than the building should be. And further in, you're able to see what seems to be a large group of gnomes and halflings, each of whom seem to be running around with various different tools and various different kind of schematics and plans and blueprints. They seem to be kind of jabbering at each other in gnomish. And then you can also see one dwarf who appears to be standing in what kind of looks like, if anyone's seen Wallace and Gromit, the wrong trousers. He's wearing like a pair of like extendable leg trouser things and is wandering around kind of like peering over the top of what seems to be a large metallic object. Make a history check for me. Okay. It looks like it's some kind of mechanical construct. Looks vaguely human, like this kind of like a human skeletal shape to it, with various different metal plates and cogs and arcane sigils that have been scrawled on various different points on the innards. And you can see it seems to be in a state of being kind of half like assembled and half disassembled. But beyond that, you don't know what this is. You've never seen it before. And you can see the dwarf seems to have a small, it almost looks like a tiny blowtorch, and he's just kind of like going up to the kind of head of the the mechanical construct, and is in the middle of trying to reattach like a metal plate, and you can hear him very faintly just be like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, just a little bit longer, just that's okay, good." And then he kind of finishes that and then just looks over at this group of gnomes who are in the middle of seemingly like arguing over a blueprint, and he just jabbers something very loudly and gnomish at them, and then they all just drop the document and walk away. What would you like to do?
The person in the wrong trousers.
Mm-hmm.
Just pretend to be a cat and see what he says. What they say, rather.
Okay. So you kind of you wander into his eye line, and he immediately kind of like the kind of leg extenders just kind of claps on, and he kind of like hoiks himself out of them and kind of walks over to it and is just like, "Now who are you? What are you doing in here?" "Oh yes, I know, it's very interesting. I thoroughly agree. But unfortunately, this is a place of work and quite dangerous. So I would kindly ask you, kind sir or madam, to vacate the premises." And he kind of like bends down to like scoop you up. What do you?
Okay.
What would you like to do?
That there's probably not much to find out, so I'll probably this man.
Sorry, what was that?
Like,
I can just hear cat noises. I can't really hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think I'm not going to find out much.
Okay, so you're just gonna kind of like let him.
That there's probably not. Let him drop me off outside.
Okay. You kind of like picks you up and ducks under a little kind of gap in the front desk, and then like takes you to the front door and places you outside and just kind of gives you like a little stroke on the forehead and is just like, yes, that's very good. Oh yes, I like you too. Maybe come back later. I might have some food. Okay, that's good. But for now, stay.
Question is, do I like cat food?
Sorry?
The question is, do I like cat food?
You tell us.
Yeah, I guess
that's down to you.
when you are in your animal forms, you still have like your own brain and intelligence and memories and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's up to you how much you want to be able to be like, oh yeah, I do like cat food. Scritches are
Do
great.
you develop cat senses like smell and sight and things like that?
Well, I'm thinking when I'm a beast, I take on their attacks and stuff. So I'm assuming I could take on their senses, including
Yeah,
their
Yeah,
taste.
you definitely do.
Exactly. So I think as a cat, you'd probably enjoy that, but you'd probably
I'd
not want
like-
to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't admit it to anyone.
It's like your dirty secret.
Ugh.
Sometimes late at night you have like a tin of cat food and you're just like, no one will ever know.
What's this for, Odie? Oh no, I just like to feed the homeless cats.
It's me, I'm the homeless cat. But yeah, so he just kind of he walks back inside and he closes the door behind him. Not in like he closes it in kind of like a gentle way, just to be like, okay, and just kind of like closes it too. You find yourself back on the streets. You're about halfway to the Sultan's Sake at this point.
I will just go to the tavern, see who pops up, and just listen out.
Okay. So when you get to the outside of the tavern, you see Vixen approaching, heading towards the front door. And make a perception check for me, please, with advantage, because you are an animal.
Do that.
Wait,
Sorry, do I
who,
just click
Carrie
on
or
my
me?
perception?
Yeah, just click on your perception, Carrie.
Carrie, I think. Yeah.
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 Okay, 17. So something about this person kind of like something kind of sets off alarm bells in your head and you're just like, something is odd. And then it takes you a little while to notice. You can see they definitely look to be human, kind of like in general shape, but you can see just the gentle swishing of a fox's tail behind them as they walk through this door.
Okay.
The door is left kind of open, and you can hear that there seem to be some people inside there. There seems to be a fairly kind of lively discussion happening inside this pub right now.
Cool. I head on in.
Okay. So we'll hop over to Kada now. You wanted to go shopping.
Indeed.
Yes. There aren't many shops that are open right now, but there's a couple. Depending on what you wanted to get, if you just wanted kind of general goods, you'd probably be able to. Or if you wanted to get something a little bit more magical or mechanical from Thorvald, you probably could.
I was thinking kind of weapon shopping, whether they're magic weapons or not.
Okay. Thorvald's would probably be the place for that,
Okay.
if any. So
Like, it's one of those things. So I know what I'm looking for, but I don't want to tell you that. I'd rather like come across it naturally. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not really sure if this is the right thing to do or not.
Oh no, just if you're after a specific magical item, literally, Laura sent me like a wish list of magical items a couple weeks ago, being like, if these could arrive at some point, if this is my Amazon magical wish list. So just if there's a specific thing, just So,
Expect that in the post from Vixen very
Yeah.
soon.
yeah. I thought as much. But yeah.
Okay, can I send you a quick PM with the sort of thing I was looking for?
If you can
Are you able to look?
if you
or-
can whisper it in the Roll20 chat, then
Oh,
I'll
how
be
do I
able to
do
see
that?
it and the stream will be able to see it, but the others won't.
How do I whisper?
I think it's /W and then the message.
Do I have to say your name?
I think if you just put /W, it whispers to the GM automatically.
Oh no, it needs a name.
Okay.
GM Cal. Oh,
I want a super fancy double-handed blade.
Good to know. We'll see how that pans out for you.
That's the stats in the
But yeah.
game.
Did you get that?
Yeah, I got that.
okay, cool.
So yeah. Oh, and it doesn't show up on the stream. That's nice.
Doesn't show up anywhere.
It shows up for me and only me. So yeah. While you're typing that, I'll just say.
Yeah, okay.
So, Kada, you kind of like you're wandering along from the Sultan Sake across one of these across one of the bridges into Three Bridges district. And as you're doing so, we get just kind of the briefest glimpse as we see you walking along, and then walking along one of kind of the railings to the side of it, we see a small black cat with little white spirals on it, just kind of walking back the other way. Okay. So, as you approach Thorvald's, you can hear that there is still noise coming from inside. You can see that the door is currently kind of closed too, rather than open, but there is still a sign outside which says that they are open.
Okay.
Do you go in?
Yes, I will knock on the door and like open it a bit and like poke my head around and be like, Thorvald, are you in?
You see kind of in the kind of wrong trouser contraption again, but this time with like a pair of glasses with several different magnifying lenses on it. He kind of like turns to see you, and you see just like his eyes magnified about 10 times, just like, Kada. Yes, come in. I'll be right with you.
Okay.
And you see he kind of gibbers something in Gnomish, and one of the other people kind of like hops up onto a stool and takes his place, and he wanders over to the desk. Yes.
So I'll sort of go in and meet him and just say, I just wondered if you had any new weapons or anything of interest that I might be able to buy.
Weaponry. Yes, I took you for the type. I hope you don't think it presumptuous of me, but I set aside a little selection. I thought you might be back. And he wanders over to kind of like it looks like kind of a tool chest drawer type thing. Kind of pulls it open and lifts up a case and brings it over. And you can see in amongst it there appears to be a scimitar, which seems to have some kind of runes etched into it along the side of the blade. And you can see 5 small daggers. They look like they're not necessarily for kind of stabbing. They look more like throwing knives. And he says,
Do they just look like normal knives, or do they have runes or?
make a perception check.
Oh, I need to up my wisdom.
13. They look incredibly shiny. And for a moment you're just kind of like for a moment you're just kind of like, oh cool, they've been polished, but then like when you're looking at them like a little bit further, you're just kind of like, no, it looks like they're almost kind of secreting oil, and the oil is making them shiny.
So I might like pick one up and kind of look at it, and just ask Torvald sort of what he can tell me about them.
Well, these I picked up from a travelling performer of sorts. Came through some 10, 15 years ago. He used them in some kind of performance. Have you ever seen put the lady on the spinning wheel and you throw the knives at them? One of those kind of deals.
Yeah.
Yes, it was one of them. But I noticed these knives are a little special, if you'd say. They were perhaps a little more accurate at hitting their mark than the average knife would be. Helped him out a little bit. I don't think he had that much natural skill.
I see.
And I took it upon myself to augment them slightly as well. If you would allow me just a second, he picks up the tiny blowtorch from the little toolkit and kind of like holds it up to the dagger, and the small dagger immediately kind of lights into flame. And he just says, "Now this will stay lit for pretty much as long as you'd need it to, and all you need to do is," and he just kind of like leans close and just whispers the word, "Ignis," and it just, the flame goes out.
Ooh. That's fancy. How many are there?
There are 5 altogether.
And how much do you want for them, Thorvald?
For these, they are the prize of my collection, of course. I couldn't part with them for any less than, say, 150 gold.
150 gold? Are you joking?
No, these have been finely enchanted and then alchemically created to form an extra special weapon. I have put countless hours of work into researching to make sure that this works as it is intended to every time. If you do not want them, then of course I can just take them back and put them back here for someone else with more discerning tastes, but...
Okay, just answer me one question. If I were to light this thing and throw it at someone,
Yes.
just saying that maybe I would.
Hypothetically, of course.
Hypothetically, of course, yeah. How long does the effect last for? If I were to go and pick it up from the burnt person,
I see.
would I be able to reuse it?
You would be able to reuse them. However, once they have been thrown and have found their mark, they do tend to extinguish themselves. Being quenched in some form of liquid, possibly blood, will put it out. But you can pretty quickly just kind of give it a little bit of a wipe down, and should work fine again as soon as you get them back.
Okay. Have you got a cool holder for them?
What do you take me for? And he kind of wanders into the back, and he comes back with a little kind of like leather bandolier that goes all across kind of like the kind of front of your chest, and he says, "Adjustable for multiple sizes, of course."
Alright, 150 it is.
Yes, I guess I'll throw in the bandolier, since we are friends.
Cheers, Thorvald.
No problem. May I perhaps interest you in the scimitar as well?
What is it? Tell me about it.
Well, sometimes it's necessary to beat a hasty retreat occasionally, and this would somewhat help you with that, make you a little bit quicker on the battlefield. Only briefly, but it can certainly help in certain situations.
So what does it, out of character here, just make you move faster, essentially?
It gives you a free casting of the spell Expeditious Retreat.
What's that? Just
basically massively increases your movement speed.
Right.
but it's a
very
smaller
handy.
version. It's a very good spell, but it
Heavy soul.
this version of it will only last for 1 turn.
Okay. Well, it depends how much you want for it.
This is a bit of a lesser item, not one of my specialty. I've barely done any work on it at all, so I could probably part with it for 95 gold.
Sorry, mate, I don't have anywhere near that much. So, thank you for the kind offer, but
Very
I'll stick with
well,
what
very
else.
well. Although if any of your compatriots want to get their hands on something like this, please do send them my way.
I will pass on the message.
I'm sure you will. Right, back to work.
And back to the pub for me.
I wish I were going with you.
I'll bring
No,
you a
I
drink
don't. I
if you
prefer
want.
this. Anyway. And he just kind of like turns around and heads back to continue working.
I'll just head back to the pub.
Okay, I'll give you stats on those throwing knives.
Thanks.
After the thing.
What was the word you said that I had to?
Ignis.
Ignis.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. We'll get back to the pub then. Vixen, you walk in, and Emanora, you are currently in conversation with Castor about something. What are you talking about?
I would have talked to him between just us in a room, but it's just us.
Okay, we'll rewind that back a little bit then. Emanora, you have the opportunity to have this conversation.
Oh, okay, because it has to be before the election. If I understand this right, we help in the election at that time.
You
While it is
can
happening?
help at any time, so you can take actions now, which will help later. Basically,
okay, because I thought we already through that point, like where in the day, like the election would be tonight, right?
Yeah. You've probably got like 2 or 3 hours before the election.
Okay. Yeah, I first want to talk to him privately. Okay. So yeah, I asked him to come with me into like a separate room somewhere.
Okay. Yep, easy enough. The back room has been like vacated. Costco is just kind of like he's sat behind the bar, just kind of like scratching his head, just like and just kind of like if you walked up to him and were like, "Can we use the back room?" He'd be like, "Yeah, but whatever."
Okay. Yeah, I show him the way, and I say, Castor, we have to talk. We have to talk before this whole election goes down.
Mm-hmm.
I have to know. I'm willing to help you with all my resources, but I have to know a little bit more about you before I commit to this. You know, I only would feel well to support you if I know your goals align with my goals.
Yeah, yes, of course. One politician to another, you need to know what you're talking about. So, what do you want to know?
In general, what are your plans? What are your dreams? How do you see the future of this town?
I just want to keep us safe. There's so much crazy stuff going on. You know, there's this whole war that's brewing, the wars that are always going on. And I see so many good people in this town who have their lives ruined just because of some noble dick measuring contest, and I don't want to be part of it.
So you wish for peace and happiness?
Doesn't everybody?
Oh, no, not everybody. You should know that.
Yes,
The peace is something people have to work for. Peace is something that is not natural at all in this world.
Yes.
And
things tend towards chaos, and they need good people like us to put it right.
Then I have another question for you. Because I feel like I don't understand something in this case. It's not my job to quarrel in anybody's religion. But you see what happens if politics and religion meet each other and religion takes the upper hand.
Yes.
And I know you following the Church of Lord quite closely. You mentioned her blessings quite often. And I'm not sure if that's the right thing for this town or for this world in general.
I am respectful of people who hold other beliefs to mine. To be quite honest with you, I would rather that the church did not have quite so large an influence in this town as it does. I am a believer, and I am a strong believer, but I would rather that politics stay politics and religion stay religion, and never the twain shall meet. Of course, they are always mixed. There's always the grey area in between, but if I had a choice, I would maybe want to make that area a little less grey.
You know, as I said, I respect every religion, but your goals doesn't seem to align with your religion. Maybe you want to think because a god in this world is really powerful, and maybe you should support a god who will support you in your goals because they align and you have the same goals. Because right now that's not the case. That's just a good advice from my side. There are a lot of gods. Maybe you have time to think about that. On the other hand, there are many ways to keep religion less powerful in your area, in your town. You may want to think about allowing other churches to build their buildings here and just have their priests here, and everybody can believe. If you split the power of the church, you can keep the upper hand. And you as a politician should know that that's important, because the next priest could be the one who kills you if you become the Sword Lord.
I wish it were that simple.
I know it is not. Peace is work. Power is work.
I am very willing to allow others to do and believe in what they say in the privacy of their own homes. I will never prosecute or malign someone for holding beliefs that are different to my own. However, it is not so simple as to allow other churches to be built. You have seen firsthand that followers of Lolth are not forgiving, and they are not...
But you have also seen that someone who didn't believe in Lord just killed the Sword Lord, and you could be the next Sword Lord. If you don't give them the freedom outside of their houses, they will come for you. And not just for you, for any other Sword Lord. We have so much peace in our country because we allow everybody in freedom to believe what they want, and every our cities have churches from almost every god. I just know out of practice that it is hard to build that community, but if you manage it, you will be able to keep peace and happiness for everybody in a better way, also for yourself and your family, that you may want to create at some point, and not be scared that someone who believes in another god holds a grudge against you because you don't allow them to live their beliefs freely.
Even if I do agree with you, if I mention this, if I say this at any point, I will never become Sword Lord.
I never said you should do it now. And maybe next week. But if you need help to keep you safe, you have to fulfill your plan once. And everybody will be happy with it.
Make a persuasion check.
I want to add my inspiration die.
Go ahead. $15. It will take time. even beyond just the fact that people here are strong believers, I fear that the stain left by Glauric might take a long time to fade. I will consider it at least.
You can start with slow steps.
Yes.
And then build forward. No empire was built in one day or one night. And maybe some point, if you work hard together with everybody and not exclude someone just because of their religion or because of their race, we may get at a point where everybody can live in peace.
I certainly hope so.
Just do your best and think about my words. Maybe a god who aligns more with your beliefs and your goals can help you better and not work against you. And now let's leave. I just think about it. Let's go back. I will try my best to make you a Soul Lord, because I think you deserve it.
Thank you. Just as a general tip for future, if you want to give someone a pep talk, maybe don't give them a crisis of faith just as they're about to start an election, but
it will
work
be fine.
on that.
You need that. You need that little bit of pressure. You will have to get used to it. That will be your everyday life, and you will have fun.
I mean, you're not really selling it here.
Okay.
That's not my job.
I'm okay.
That's a politician's life.
Okay, fine. Thank you. I've got to get back to work. Oh. Well, you can see he walks over. There's a little bottle of sake that's kind of half full on the side. He just kind of walks over, uncorks it, and just okay, let's go. And kind of walks back out to the front. Ellen and Alessia, you guys are sat in the bar. There's discussion that's going on surrounding the election and who's there've been kind of words going back and forth about who's going to actually be checking all of the votes and all these kind of things. They've been trying to settle on someone for a little while. Ellen, specifically, you notice that Koshka is looking very, very rough right now. He's just kind of slumped over the bar. He seems to barely be paying any attention to anything. You're muted.
What time is it, more or less?
I'd say it's probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And how is there in the bar?
Altogether, there's probably about 30 people in the bar, but most of them are kind of gathered in the one corner, along with Caster, working on plans for the election and stuff.
I just had the Koshka. I'm working with my hands on the. I'm really relaxed, not relaxed. I spent the whole day with a Manora, and I've been just trying to. My back has been the whole day.
You're slouching, kind of
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going, yeah, and I
You just kind of lean into him.
Hey, Koshka, how are you?
I'm really, really bad. I've been held hostage twice today. Twice. I've never been held hostage in my life, and now I've been held hostage twice. I'm not happy right now.
You're still working, right?
Yeah, what do you want?
I'm a bit worried about. Give me a second. And I get back like, would it have our things?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you very well there. It didn't pick up very well.
Like in Koshka's bar. Okay. Head there and back like with a huge book, hiding it from the others, like in my
Okay.
back.
Make a stealth check for me, please. Or actually,
Okay.
maybe sleight of hand? Yeah, sleight of hand, actually.
Even better.
Okay. Elland, you think you are being like really sly with this book, but basically to everyone else, you just kind of like shuffle. Like it's clearly like you're clearly holding something and trying to hide it. But pretty much everyone else is just kind of like, okay, cool, whatever.
Is that I turn around and okay, I walk normally. Place the book in front of Koshka. The old duo.
I can't hear you at all right now. It keeps cutting out really badly.
Is the sensibility? What
Sorry?
sensibility of it?
Yeah, I think
Is it to do with like?
Yeah, I think that the gating on it's gone a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's better.
Okay. It's basically the big book that I took from one of the last times William Sakani.
Oh, the family one that your brother gave you. Yeah.
He is what's on the like. He understands Mario family.
Sorry, what was that?
If he recognizes like the name of the family or something about the book.
He kind of looks at it and he's just like, yeah, I mean it's a major house. I know what Morevo is. What's your point?
Start opening the. What is the point? Like thinking about the book. I don't know if you had that in mind, Cal, but I'm thinking about the book like kind of like the white Game of Thrones book that it's like
yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. The kind of like what all the knights are up to and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I kind of arrived to is where our is, and I point at this.
Okay. He's like, he's looking at it and he just kind of like looks blankly at you and is just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing. It's a book. What do you want?
Okay. What do you think about this? Difficult, yeah. Everyone's like trying to fight for the power, and nobody thinks.
I mean, I wish people cared more about, you know, the little people. I wish they cared more, but it is what it is. I don't know what I can do to change it.
What it is sounds like I mean, of people coming around to your bar every day. They have no, not little problems. Little choosing what they do with their. It's sad, right?
They have decisions to make. I mean, yes, everybody has choices, decisions. Ellen, I'm going to be really, really direct with you right now. I have had no sleep. I am quite drunk. And I have no idea what you're trying to tell me right now. Please put it very, very simply, or kindly
Very
just
honest.
go away.
Okay. Like, say, try to choose, and I just go.
Let yourself.
No.
Okay.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage.
Why?
It's more to do with his mental state than anything else. Oh, that's a natural one there.
He's got a persuasion of 10 and he rolled a natural 1.
Yep.
It's terrible.
What?
Terrible.
Ellen, the bumbling bard, continues.
How unlucky. His all rolls were super unlucky, just to point
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them. Like, he just kind of looks at you, and then he's just like, if you want to talk philosophy, politics, go talk to someone else. I don't have time for this right now.
I scream him, hey Ellen, why are you bothering Kushka? Come back here and bring me a beer.
I'll have one
Listen
too.
to her. He just kind of like, he gets like 3 beers up on the bar and just kind of like pops them there, and he's just like, just take them. I don't really care right now.
I just turn to Alessia and say, legs, a couple of arms, probably stronger than me, so you can come and get your own beer. And I just turn around and leave the bar.
That's not gentle at all. Can I throw him something?
Make a dexterity roll. What are you going to throw at him?
I can show you that it's not going to hurt you very much. I don't really want to hurt you. Come around me.
Tell you what, because of course he is, Hawk is currently eating an apple.
Just take the apple from Hook and throw it to Fran and dexterity, right?
Dexterity, yeah.
Can I do something to avoid that?
Yeah, dexterity saving throw.
Am I in the vicinity of this apple throwing?
I'd say this is around about the moment that you are walking in through the door.
Can I try and catch the apple midair?
First... Okay. Alessia, you miss entirely and it goes sailing towards the door towards Vixen. Vixen, make a dexterity saving throw. Okay, yep, easy enough. You open the door, an apple is flying towards you and just...
I'm just going to stand up and like slow clap.
Crunch. Whose was this?
Hawk just puts his hand up.
You want it back?
I mean, yes, I would very much like it back.
I go and hand the apple to Hawk and sit down next to him.
He happily goes back to munching it.
Does he notice I've taken a bite?
No.
That's alright then.
Alan, do you have something you wanted to do?
Yeah, no, I just like the apple coming from my head, and I see like Vixen opening the door and catching it and catch. And you can see me like when you come into the bar book and whistling like a really like a waltzy song, like
and we don't know what that.
Like a waltzing song, yeah. I kind of get what you mean. Like lilting.
You're whistling a waltzing song. Wait, who's whistling?
I think Ellen is whistling. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Easy enough.
I wonder if it's because why isn't the mic picking Elend up very well? Well, Fran, not
I
Elend.
think it's internet connection issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's just packet loss. Meh, not much we can do about that, really. Okay, so at this moment, is there anything else anybody wants to do before the Lordsmoot itself starts?
Yes.
Okay, Vixen, what's the thing you want to do?
Right. I am going to ask Hawk a very quick question. Hawk, while I have your attention and you're currently enjoying an apple, you're very, you know, a lot of influential people and in multiple areas around, correct?
Correct, but I don't like where this is going.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. It's more of an opportunity for someone. Do you know of any alchemy colleges or anything that would train in like herbalistics or anything very prominent, a powerful standing in the alchemy herbalism craft?
He just kind of like, he starts to smile and he's just like, oh, I see, yes. Do you want to buy some drugs?
No.
Because I've got drugs. I've got all the drugs.
No, I want someone who's very talented to be accepted into that college.
Oh.
I
Okay.
don't know as how quick you could get that to happen, but I need it ASAP. Some proof that, or a letter addressed to them that might get them there fast.
It would take me some time. But
I'll pay you.
That's all I needed to hear. Okay, I'll get to it right away. What method of payment will it be?
What method of payment do you desire?
I like money, of course, but a favor for a favor.
Go on, I'm listening.
I don't have anything in particular right now, but if I scratch your back now, you scratch my back later?
Deal. I shake his hand.
Of course, of course. And when you like, when you shake his hand for a moment, like the color in his eyes just changes slightly, and then he's just like,
nice. I didn't even care what I got myself into.
Really scary.
I'm not even worried.
No, don't ask. Just don't ask. Hope that he
Just
forgets
wait for it to come up. Yeah.
He just kind of like he gets up, he wanders over to the bar, and you see him kind of like go to Koshka, and he's just like, Koshka, oh, we've been through so much together. Remember when we were tied up in that place with the thing? Yes, and anyway, do you have any paper I could borrow?
Brilliant.
And then we kind of we fade out on that. Is there anything else anybody wants to do?
I want to position myself at the door to greet the people. I want to persuade them when they come in to be charismatic and nice to them and just direct them in the direction that they should vote for Castor.
I also need to speak to Emanora and Castor.
Can do that when we come back in the...
Before, really, ideally.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that conversation, and then we'll go to break, and then when we come back, we'll do the election. So.
Okay, brilliant.
The conversation you want to have with Emanora and Castor.
Are they actually sort of near each other at the moment?
Yeah, we're talking about politics, how we persuade people.
Have I seen Castor before? I haven't, have I? Like, Vixen hasn't seen him. Because she's been too busy in the church, hasn't she?
Yeah,
I mean,
you actually never met Castor.
Everything that was happening outside, but she didn't really see who it was because she was stood outside of the church watching everything sort of going on, but she doesn't really know that that's Castor.
No, you saw a person giving a speech, and you didn't actually meet Castor at any point. So yeah, you don't know.
Okay, fantastic. Emanora,
Yes.
I wanted to have a brief word with you. I've been really busy in the church. I wanted to catch up. What have you been up to?
We're trying to figure out a good campaign for Castor so we can get the people to vote for him.
Did you say Castor?
Yes.
And who is that?
He was the right hand of the Sword Lord, and after I have the feeling that he would be the right person for the position of the new Sword Lord. Since he was close to him, I think that's what he would wish.
I think you might be right. Can I speak to him? Where is he? Which one is he? Can you point to him?
He is really busy right now. I look around. What does he do?
Drinking.
He is right in the middle of you can see there's like 3 different people with different documents, and he's in the middle of kind of like flipping back and forth between all 3 of them, like signing a thing here, like crossing out a line there and being like no, all that kind of stuff. Like he's he's full in campaign swing right now. Maybe
I can help you. What is it?
I really need to speak to Castor, and I think actually you probably might be able to help. I think I may have developed a way for both the Salt Lord and the Church to work together harmoniously, but with the Salt Lord having slightly more leeway in everything that's going on, being that he's kind of in charge. I think it could be beneficial to him getting elected. And I think it will be beneficial him being elected.
These are decisions. We can't just make them before the election.
It's not
a contract like this would take
No, I don't need a contract. I don't need a contract. I just need to speak to him. Literally, that's all I need to do.
He is really busy. I'm not sure if that's a good idea right now. Look over again. Is he done with signing this stuff?
He seems to be down to just the one document at the moment. He's kind of like flipping through like several pages, just kind of like.
What do I think? Like, I'm the right hand of a really influential politician in my country. Would I allow someone from the church, from any church, it doesn't matter, to talk to my...
It's kind of from his church, so it's up to you, really. It's what Emma Nora would believe.
I think normally, under normal circumstances, no, you would be like, you need an appointment. But these are not normal circumstances, and there's probably not going to be another time. So if you were willing to let her talk to him at all, then now would be the time.
Okay, you have to make it fast, and I go over and say, Castor, can you talk to a friend of mine? Do you have the time for it? It's no issue if you don't feel like it. She has a proposal how you could get more votes in the election.
Any help I can get?
It's also tied to the church. So you have to decide if that's a connection you want to do after the church killed the last Sword Lord. Your call. I can tell her no. I can.
No. Send her over. It can't hurt to know more information.
You're right. Okay, then should I stay or should I leave you alone?
Up to you. Honestly, it makes no difference to me.
Vixen, should I stay or should I go?
Should I stay?
You are muted. You are muted, Tammy.
Sorry. It's up to you, Emma Nora. You can do as you wish. I honestly, it will only take a few minutes.
Okay, then I sit down and take notes. Since it's a proposal for basically a contract, it could be interesting for me.
Not really a contract, more of an ideal.
Just take notes.
Okay, Castor, it's great to meet you. I'm Vixen. How are you doing?
As well as can be expected under the circumstances. I recognize you vaguely. You, and he kind of looks down and he sees the kind of like the Silk Mother thing, and he's just like, sorry, I did not know I was speaking with the Silk Mother. 8 blessings.
8 blessings to you. I have an ideal that I think would benefit you, your voters, and the town in general. Obviously, Gleric was a heretic, that you know. especially after killing the previous Salt Lord, which has started this whole charade of issues. What I wanted to suggest was that you merge with the church, being a figurehead for both the Salt Lord and the church, with Serena helping manage the church for you, almost as maybe a right hand to you, and bring all the people together.
You can see he kind of like almost involuntarily glances over at Emanora making notes for a second, and then kind of like looks back up at you, and like he's kind of smiling and nodding, being like until after you kind of like finish saying that, he just kind of like takes a second to think. Make a persuasion check.
I wanted to make just one note at that point. I would just only say, Caster, religion and church should never be merged, since politics have always to have arguments and good reasons why they behave like they behave, versus the church, who can always just say, oh, it's for the gods because the gods want it this way. But that's a decision you have to make.
Not if they work together. If the Salt Lord is primarily in charge. I mean, unless the church had a direct order from Lolf personally,
and that's
which
where
is
the religion
unlikely
would
to happen.
With
that's
politics.
Unlikely to happen.
It could happen, though. I just say, in my experience as a politician, and I'm fairly long in this business, church and politics should never interfere. They should be always separated clearly, just to make sure everybody can live in their own way. And politics
I think
can
this
do
is
their
the best
duty.
interest of the town, not the future of the world, because their problems don't matter. What happens right now matters here and now. And I think this benefits everyone in this town here and now, which is, I believe, what Caster is trying to fix.
Caster just kind of like puts up a hand to both of you, just like, ladies, please. I don't have time for this right now. I've got so much that I need to be getting on with. Thank you for your suggestion. And can both of you please make persuasion checks, please?
Absolutely.
The rolls are just not on my side.
Mm-hmm.
Yes!
Oh.
In your face, politician!
He just
Luck
kind of
is
like...
always a factor.
Yeah.
Logic not always helps.
He was leaning towards me anyway, deal with it.
He kind of like... He thanks you, he just says, "Thank you for your wise counsel, Silkmother. I will certainly take it into advisement. Anyway, there is much to do and very little time. Thank you." And he kind of extends a hand towards you, Vixen, and like has like a tiny bit of smile. He's just like, "I trust I can trust in your vote tonight."
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And there's this brief moment when you look at him, kind of Emanora, and simultaneously in your head you have two thoughts. You have, he's really taking to this whole politician thing. That was like a really smooth move. And on the other hand, you're like, but he's doing a thing I don't like. But with that, kind of, we're going to kind of fade over into the corner, and we can see that a certain little black cat has made their way in and is curled around and kind of one of the various different chairs which is in the corner of the room as people start to filter in. Yes. I can't hear you, you're muted.
Me?
No.
No.
Liar, you are
No.
muted.
Sorry. I have this animal connection thing or animal handling thing. So if there's an animal in the room, I'll probably want to play with it and interact with it because
This is so cute.
Okay, cool. So yeah, Odie, when you wander into the room, at one point, a very, very tall, like, about, like, 7.5 foot tall, quite wide, like, giant-looking person with grey skin bald hair and wearing what looks kind of like an ornate crown type thing with horns on it.
Show her the crown. Show her the crown.
Kind of.
A bit soon.
Yeah. Wanders over towards you and with a humongous hand kind of reaches down to start petting you. And with that, we're going to go to our break. So please stick around. Sorry we had to kind of start a little bit later today. As you can see, we have new overlays, but that means we have to change things around a lot, which is including some lovely new art from our very own Laura. So thank you very much.
Artiste.
So
she's above me. I don't know if she is in the live stream.
She's below you in the live stream. But
oh, okay.
She's down that way. Our very own Laura. So thank you for providing the art, and we will be back.
Always happy.
We will be back soon. Please don't go anywhere, and we'll be back for the rest of this episode of Tales of Escuria. Hello everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of Tales of Escuria. So, another kind of couple hours or so pass fairly uneventfully, waiting for the Lordsmoot to begin in earnest. People start to filter in as they finish their tasks for the day, and people finish their various jobs. And you can feel as the room, as this room begins to fill up with people more and more. You can kind of feel the heat, just kind of rising. The room starts to get kind of stuffy, and it begins to get more and more difficult to be able to kind of hear the conversations that people are having back and forth. But eventually, you see that pretty much all of the adults that you have seen around the town seem to have made their way here, save for a couple of guards who are kind of standing outside to make sure that things are kept kind of secure. All of the people that you have met since you have been in Yokai are there. Thorvald and Roku. You see the parents of the girl that you'd saved now return to their normal age. At one point, they come up to kind of speak to one of you. If one of you were to kind of talk to these people, who do you think it would be?
Not me.
I can do
Alicia. Well, Alicia's met them. She was there with me when we first went there with Roku. She'd probably be a more friendly approach than maybe Vixen.
Also easier to spot in the crowd.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
They wouldn't go anywhere near Elland.
God, no. So they spot you, Alessia, and you can see one of them kind of begins to smile and wanders over to you. You can see that the height disparity is very, very clear here. These two halflings standing next to the just mountain of flesh that is Alessia, kind of staring up at you, and one of them just says, I know that with everything that happened yesterday, we didn't really get a chance to say it, so I'll say it now. Thank you for everything so much. She's it's good to see her back to her normal self, and it's good for us to be back too, but mainly her. It's good to see her back.
What do you say when you do this?
Kind of crouch down.
Out, and I just felt I crouched down. See you back normal stage. And for everyone, we really wanted to help you.
Well, if there's anything that we can do, anything at all, just pop by, even if it's just a cup of tea or some pie or something. We'll be more than happy.
You're always welcome.
All right. Well, we've got to get ready for all of this madness.
Yeah.
We'll see you later. Oh, if we were to vote for anyone, who would you recommend? I can't hear you at all, Aya. Sorry.
What should I do? Just close? I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Let's say that the trust is, I don't know,
Castle.
Caster.
Okay. Makes sense. He seems like a like the fancy type, the big kind of, oh, I'm a lord, I do fancy things kind of person. So yeah, makes sense, I guess.
Knows how things works. Should be the right person to everything.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you after this. He kind of he walks to wander away, and his wife kind of like stays for a second, just kind of looks up and just like nods and just like whispers out like a thank you.
This is the right choice.
Okay. Odie, at this point, this place is getting very, very full, and from your vantage point as a cat, it's very difficult to see anything. It's just like a sea of people, feet. Yes?
When I was like petting the cat, I was thinking about to say her like, very proud. You're going to be her, carry her and put her in my bag.
Okay.
Large, and it's a tiny cat. If she lets me, of course.
Would you let a giant just pick you up and put you on like their shoulder?
Well, instinct-wise, no. Yeah, instinct-wise, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll come back. Robin, you have a question.
I do. Are we gonna find out any of the other candidates? Because the only one that I know that is up for it is Caster.
You're about to find out, yeah.
And maybe Robert.
Okay. So yeah, coming back to you, Odie. So instinct-wise, no. Alessia, make an animal handling check. $22. So your instincts immediately are just kind of like, no, I don't want this. And then like Alessia just kind of like looks you in the eyes for a second, and there's this weird kind of like animal to like person connection for a second. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, okay, yeah, this is fine.
To be fair, you'd be able to see them better from up there, so and less chance of being trampled.
True that.
Okay. So you are. Yep. So the tavern at this point has kind of completely filled. The few people who'd managed to get seats early on have kind of arranged them, and you can see that at the far end, the kind of few tables that have been pushed together to form a makeshift stage the first night that you guys arrived in Yokai have been put back again. and standing on top of it, you can see one of the people who'd been kind of running back and forth with various different documents for Costa to look at and sign. It's a halfling fellow. Seems to be fairly well dressed. He's got a little kind of mostly kind of black clothing, and he's got a little kind of almost looks like brown, or like kind of somewhere between brown and nettle green bow tie type thing. And once everyone is in the room, he kind of like starts to kind of like clap his hands together to try and get people's attention. And eventually the crowd starts to kind of settle down. And he says, "Thank you all for coming at such short notice. So, it's been a long time since we have had a Lordsmoot. A long time since we've had need of one. So, we'll run over the ground rules very quickly. We will take 3 nominees. In order for them to run, someone must propose them, and someone must second that proposal. They must accept it themselves, and then they can come and stand up here on the stage with me. Each of them can give a short speech, explaining why they believe they would be the best Salt Lord for you. Following which we will do a vote. The person with the fewest votes from all of the districts by the end of the first round will be eliminated, and then we will run a second round of voting to determine who will be the Salt Lord. For you, it's all pretty simple. Listen to what they have to say, and vote for who you believe would be the best Salt Lord. I'll dilly-dally no longer, and we'll get on with it. Do we have any nominations for the position of Salt Lord of Yokai? And you immediately hear someone from down in the crowd, one of the various different attendants and messengers, just says, "I nominate Karsta Paleleaf." And then you hear someone from kind of the other side of the crowd say, "Seconded." And the man, kind of the halfling at the top, says, "Do you accept the nomination?" And Karsta steps forward and says, "I do." And he steps up onto the stage. Are there any other nominations for the position of Salt Lord of Yokai? At this point, one of the various different guards who you can see, who's taken off their helmet and placed it on the bar, is leaning against it, raises his hand and says, "I nominate Robert Black of the Lord's Guard." And you hear another guard say, "Seconded." And at this point, you see stepping forward a man with kind of short cropped blonde hair, fairly large in stature, very broad chested, wearing very polished armor and a long flowing kind of aquamarine cape. And you can see on it there's kind of a symbol, kind of somewhere between a diamond and a stylized fish. And he approaches with his helmet kind of under one arm. And at his side, you can see, actually kind of like attached to his back, an extremely long axe glaive type weapon. And he steps forward, and he just before the halfling can even say anything, he says, "I accept the nomination." And steps up onto the stage. Doesn't need to use any of the steps, just kind of like puts one leg up and thump up onto the stage. And stands next to Karsta, who is suddenly looking very small in comparison. And then the halfling fellow just says, "Very well. Do we have our final nomination for Salt Lord of Yokai?" And at this point, you hear one one voice, which you've heard at some point before, but you can't exactly place, say, "Roku." And then
I will
you
stand up and agree. I will.
Very good.
I want a good, fair competition.
Roku looks very confused and shocked, and then you can see that she's standing at the bar next to Thorvald, who just kind of like is looking at her, just like, go on, and she's just like, I accept.
Her hand.
She looks very confused and kind of makes her way through the crowd. You can hear like a few people like mumbling as she walks forwards, and she kind of steps up onto the stage, looks very bewildered. Very apt phrasing for her. She looks very much like a deer in headlights right now. And she just kind of stands on the stage just like
Can I message her?
Sure.
My cantrip, little copper wire messaging situation. So I just tell her in her head, Roku, you can do this. Just try. It's a fair competition. If people think you're suitable for this role, I believe so too. I wouldn't have nominated you. Just be honest. Be yourself.
Who called her name?
Make a perception check for me, please. Okay. You recognize this person vaguely. You believe it's someone who was living in the Songbird Fields when you went to try and deal with the ghost. Okay. So with that, the halfling fellow kind of says, very well, we have a full complement. Now we will hear speeches, and each may give a good and honest testimony as to why they believe they should be the next Salt Lord of Yokai. Would anybody like to go first? Caster kind of raises his hand, but Robert Black just steps forward and says, "Aye." So there's a moment of just kind of almost kind of rough silence. Oh. Hello? We're back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Discord dropped me for a second there, don't know what happened. But yeah, there's a moment of rough silence before as he kind of like looks around the crowd, and finally he just begins to speak and says, "This whole moot is a waste of time. In Varin, the strongest lead. And I am the one who lays my life on the line to protect you every day." Caster couldn't even protect himself. "We are already at war, and we should be on the front lines protecting our house, not squabbling over petty politics. And I will lead us to glory in that war, not cower here in fear. Both of these people, and he points at both Roku and Caster, have consorted with these outsiders, and within 2 days of their arrival, we've had ghost attacks, the Salt Lord has been murdered, the palace lies in ashes, and our religious leader lies dead by their hand. You might think they're your friends. But how well do you know them? Really? And do you trust them over me? Think about that. I've said my piece." And he just turns around and walks back to stand in line. And you can see people are kind of like looking around. A lot of eyes are on the various different members of your group. Both people who are kind of like looking in your direction as if they're noticing you for the first time, and a few people who are kind of like actively like shaking their heads at you.
Do I have a feeling that there's someone in the room who's influential with the opinion? No, like actually someone from is part of the town who has like is not up there but has like an influential opinion. If they would support someone.
Probably Thorvald.
I don't think so.
Make a perception check. Okay.
I had a couple of bad rolls. That was already time.
So, casting your eye around the room, you can see there's a small group of people who you recognise as having been members of the court. They're people who were kind of squabbling when you first arrived in town. But you can see that they're kind of standing there. Most of them seem to be kind of stony-faced, not paying much attention to what Robert has just said.
So these are the influential people. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's what
They
you
would have
gather.
like the biggest. Okay, can I move closer to them?
Sure. Easy enough.
Yeah, I want to stand next to one of them.
Okay. Yeah, there's one that you've seen kind of around over the course of the day.
Can I hear something? Are they talking?
Are you trying to like listen in covertly on what they're saying?
I try to move closer to listen if they say something or if I can hear something without being too obvious.
Okay, make a stealth check, please. Yeah, easy enough.
Something while this is happening.
I'm trying to figure out what the influential people think about the situation right now.
Okay. So what you can basically hear is they're kind of like tutting, and they're just kind of like, honestly, he's just, this is all he thinks about. War, killing, no respect for politics.
I would like to cast suggestion.
Okay.
And talk to one of them.
Okay.
I want to suggest him something.
Go ahead.
I would like to tell him, I think you really want to support Ruku.
Okay. What is your spell save DC?
15.
Okay.
I'm not wrong.
14. Fails.
Oh, thank God for that.
I think he wants to support Roku.
He wants to support Roku. He
he
listens to he listens to what you say, and he's just like, she may not be a politician, true, but I suppose she has some good qualities.
I want to see her in the second round. I really want to. She's so cute. She shouldn't fail in the first round.
Okay. With that, you have made a impact, and Roku will have a +1 to all of her rolls.
Aww.
Lovely. Yes.
We do love Roku.
Yes. Evanora especially likes her because she heals people and she does good for the community. She deserves their votes.
What's happening?
Okay. Does anybody else want to do anything before? Yes, Elland.
Hey, hey, hello.
Hello.
Now?
What was
you
that,
just
sorry?
keep breaking in and out.
Yeah.
Find my life. A second. Let's try it this way. If it doesn't work, it's okay.
That sounds better.
That does sound better.
I just want to slide. He's talking.
I can't hear what you're saying, man. I can't hear it.
Can you type it?
Yeah, type it out. And we'll move on, but we'll consider what you when you finish typing it out. I'll tell you what needs to happen or whatever, and we'll consider it as something that's already happened.
That's good.
So, next up, after the kind of silence has kind of drawn out of this room, Caster steps forward and says, "Thank you for those Stirring words, Robert. Well, you all know me. I have been working for the Saito family for my entire life. I have been working under both our previous Salt Lord, Lolth bless his soul, and his father before him. And through that I have got to know each and every one of you, for some reason or another. You know me as a fair person, as a good person, and most importantly, I know the issues that face this village. And I know what should be needed to fix them. The council, and he kind of gestures down at the kind of lords who have gathered around. They know me and they know my character. And they have placed their trust in me. I have your best interests at heart. And if you do not trust in my motivations, remember, I was offered the crown. It was put in my hands. But I chose to hold a Lordsmoot. I could have just taken it. But that's not the kind of person I am. I care for you and for your opinions. And I will listen to what you have to say going forward, as I have done every day up until now. Power will not change me. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. And he kind of steps back into line. After a few seconds, Roku doesn't seem to be moving from the spot. She's just kind of like staring out at the people in front of her and doesn't seem to know what to do with herself.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I know it's really for attacks, but as a DM, you may allow it. Would I be okay to cast a divine favour on Cat for a political reason?
Roll an Arcana check.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You're not convinced it will work.
Okay.
In the back of your head, you're like, it might help. Or it might make something really, really bad happen. And it's 50-50.
Alright, I'm not going to risk it.
Okay. Ellen, that's easy enough to do. Like, you're trying to, like, stare him down. Is there anything particular you want to do, or are you just going to stare at him?
Flip him the bird.
Okay. Probably.
Oh,
Yeah, that's...
you could type it.
I wonder if it's something to do with like how your mic picks you up, because it seems to like cut in and out. So when you stop speaking, it cuts out. So if you just continuously talk, then it might work.
It has been cutting out when he's been continuously talking as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different. It's different from Carrie's situation. Hers seems to be like the mic due to the phone. Like it's more of if she talks higher than a certain decimal, it's easier to pick up. Whereas with Ellen, it's much more whenever he's speaking, it just inadvertently cuts in and out, which means more of a connection issue rather than a mic problem.
It's packet loss. It's not mic problems.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties. What can you do?
Yeah.
Try your best.
Story of our lives.
Yeah. Every time.
Can I message Roku again?
Sure.
Since she's not talking, I tell her, Roku, just tell them that you're a people's person. You live with them, you help them, you offer them goods you heal them for free. Just use this on your advantage.
Does she use magic to do that, Emanora?
Yep.
Can I counterspell that?
It's a cantrip. I don't think you can counterspell cantrips.
And do you even know that
dang.
she's doing it?
No, that's probably
Yeah.
true.
You'd need to roll a
Well, I
perception check
could
to
if I
see that
detected
she is.
magic.
Yeah, you could use a perception check to see that she is doing it,
Okay.
but counterspell does not work on cantrips.
Okay. All right. I'll do a perception check.
Okay. Oh yeah, Emanora is fully talking to someone right now.
Can I tell that it's Roku?
Make an insight check.
Oh.
Is that possible?
You suspect,
Okay.
but no way of telling. So yeah, she kind of steps forward, and her eyes kind of scan wildly through the crowd until eventually she sees like Thorvald standing there, just kind of like, okay, it's okay. And she takes a deep breath, and then she starts to speak, but it's kind of quiet until eventually you hear someone in the crowd just go like, "Speak up, come on." And she's like, I have been caring for you and this community for my entire life. And you know I don't do it for glory or money. I do it because it's right. I don't know about politics, and frankly, I don't care to. I just care about my community and making sure that we're all looked after. We all know that war is on the horizon, and it is the job of the Salt Lord to make sure that our able-bodied young men are sent to fight in that war. I cannot in good conscience agree with that statement. If I am the Salt Lord, I will not send a single one of our young men to die in a war that is none of our business. I'm looking after this community. And if that means that House Varin disagrees, if that means that there are prices that must be paid, then I will pay them myself. But for now, I just want to keep this community together and keep it safe.
I want to make some noise with the guy who I just suggested to support her.
Okay.
And draw some eyes on us that we're both supporting her, but especially him.
Make a performance check.
Especially him.
Oh, very good. So I will count that as another +1 towards her.
She's so cute. She's a dear.
Can I use sending to send a message to Caster?
Sure. What
Can
would
you let me
like
know
to
if it
say?
goes through?
It definitely goes through.
All right, lovely. Caster, I'm going to tell you now, Roku is your biggest competition. Who did we lose?
And Alicia.
How do you know that she is his biggest competition? Because that seems a little bit...
You can't hear this. Shut up.
No, but just to be fair, like as Robin said, we should remind her if she's metagaming. So
I'm not
just a
metagaming.
reminder.
I already rolled to
You just know
suspect
that I
what you were
messaged
doing.
her. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you know that I'm...
Yeah, it's
effectively
on the
helping her.
border.
Hmm? It's a pretty big assumption. I'm taking an educated guess.
Okay. If you don't know it for sure and you're saying that you do, make a deception check.
Okay. Ah.
You see he like hears the message. You can see
can
him
hear
kind of
you.
like looking like left and right, and then
Okay.
he just
I'm
kind of
just going to add, from what Roku said, do you really think she could protect the village if something bad happened? She doesn't want to send anyone to war, and I'm going to leave it there.
You hear back a reply that are just the words, "Get out of my head."
Okay.
And unless anybody else wants to make any actions,
Can I go
Hey,
and get another beer,
want
please?
to?
Yeah, we can hear.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Bad.
Okay.
Can I go and get another beer?
yeah, easy enough. So if nobody else wants to make any take any actions in this time, the halfling fellow steps forward again and says, "You have heard all they have to say. Now we go to votes." So, we'll kind of like montage through all of this. People kind of writing down on a slip of paper, folding it and putting it into the box. And then the halfling fellow kind of examining it all and then showing it to each of the candidates to make sure that they all agree at the count. To begin with, you see Robert Black looking very pleased with himself. He's kind of smiling and nodding, and he looks towards kind of his fellow guards members, and a couple of them are kind of like raising bottles to him. And then as the vote goes on, that smile fades. It fades real hard, and it gets worse and worse as it goes along, until by the end of the voting, he just looks like he wants to kill someone. And at the end of it, the announcer steps forward again and says, "The results of voting for the first round have come in. North Pools goes to Roku. South Pools goes to Roku. Three Bridges to cast a Pale Leaf. Gold Vale to cast a Pale Leaf. And Cascade to cast a Pale Leaf."
Oh man,
Yeah.
Robert Black is
Also,
eliminated from the running.
he didn't
And-
even get one. Jesus,
he deserved it.
for
Yeah.
sure. But
He would have got one, but you gave it to Roku instead.
Yes.
So
Important.
he you can see he steps down from the kind of stage, and he reaches up and he takes off this his cloak of office and just throws it on the ground, and he just looks at everyone in there and just says, "Cowards, every single one of you." And then just kind of like gestures, and you see like about half of the guards kind of go with him, and the other half just kind of like look at the cape on the ground and just kind of stay put. And he just gets up and just leaves the building.
Oh, how high is he in the ranks of the military of this?
He is in charge of the town's guard.
Oh, we don't want to upset this guy.
And
please,
Like
it'll be
that.
fine.
Yeah, we will have to see that we make him a good offer afterwards to keep him happy.
well, no, because
Kill
then
him.
the Soul Lord to protect us. It's either going to be Roku or Caster, and they're both on side. So
okay.
bless you.
With that, the halfling kind of like claps to get people's attention again as they begin to murmur. You see one of the guards kind of goes and picks up the cloak and just kind of lays it on the bar, and just leaves it there. And he says, "We will proceed to the second round of voting. We will recast all votes."
I would, before the second round begins, I would like to walk around people and just use this common psychology trick. If people think that more people will vote for one party, they drawn to vote for that party as well, even if it's not true. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what
It's
you're
a
going for.
common tactic. Yeah, I would like to try spread the rumor that Roku has more votes.
Mm-hmm.
Can I talk with Vixen meanwhile?
Especially with
Sure.
people who are like look a little bit
Is that
Like a
What?
Eminora, make a performance check. Ellen, you want to speak to Vixen?
Yeah.
yes?
How do you see the night, the outcome of all of this?
You want my personal opinion? Okay. I think both current candidates are pros
Who is
to some
breathing?
extent. I don't know. I honestly can't say for sure whether Roku can pull it off. I feel Castor is the stronger candidate and has far more behind him that would benefit the city itself. Roku is well loved, but I don't think she has enough power behind her to sort of help where it counts. But that's only my opinion. Why? What did you want to know?
I need your help.
Go on.
I know that Roku loves you. She likes you.
Oh, I love Roku.
Her. I think that she's too weak for the position.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling that she might be. Can I let you in on a little secret, but you keep it between me and you?
Okay.
You are muted.
You're muted.
Sorry. It was so secret, no one heard it. Right. I get in really close. Only Ellen can hear me. No one else can hear me unless they try and roll for it, which I would strongly suggest they don't. So I lean in close and I'm like, Ellen, I have a plan for her that could benefit her future, but it won't be here in Yokai. I leave it at that.
I just stare at your necklace like really strongly, like I'm asking is because of that?
It's partly because of that, although that wanted it to be a far more negative outcome for her. I want to twist her fate in a way that could benefit both her and Yokai. Does that make sense?
My idea was quite different. I mean, these people have been, and yeah, these last days haven't helped them at all. To choose between Roku. Anyway, they got like 2 districts voted for Roku and 3 voted for Caster. And I think that she's a charismatic figure for the people, and Caster is obviously a wise man. Each other really well. So that they work together, a better place.
Roku makes it a better place with her technique and talents. As a political body, she really doesn't have much going for her, apart from the love of the people.
You need that.
I believe they're both good candidates, as I said already. But I feel something could benefit her greatly in the future, and she might be able to come back and be even stronger. But that'll be out of our hands because we won't be here forever. For now, to help it, I just think Caster is the stronger candidate.
I'm with you, but I think that he needs to learn from Roku anyway. But I won't mess.
I think this whole competition. I think this whole competition will probably help him.
Your god is first, and your teammates are second. But don't worry, I get that. And I just leave.
Okay. Odie, you had a question or a thing? Carrie? Carrie? Hello?
Hello?
Carrie, where'd you go?
Carrie? Hello? Okay, never mind. She's in her own space.
Bless her.
Someone message Carrie, please. Okay. Eminora, you as you kind of wander around trying to kind of like get people on your side for voting for Roku specifically, you get pushback.
Okay.
As you try and convince the people, a fair number of them are just like, "What are you talking about? She doesn't know anything about politics. She's gonna try and stand up to House Varin all by herself. She's just gonna get killed, and then we'll need someone else anyway."
I had
You
a
want-
question.
Yes.
So the captain, did he? I just wanted to clarify. Did he ask me to just watch and then nothing, or try and convince people to vote for someone?
He asked you to watch.
So when the captain, I'm speaking.
We can
Can you not hear me?
We can hear
No,
you.
we can't.
Yes, we're listening.
Can you not speak to me?
Hello.
No.
really?
Hang on.
Sorry, yes, we can all hear you.
We can all hear you.
Can you not hear us?
No.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, maybe that's what the issue was. If you can't hear us.
For now, type it
Okay,
out.
she
We're
said
gonna.
she can hear us.
You can hear us. We can hear you.
Just talk.
Just speak. Speak.
It's not on silent. You're not muted.
Speak. Now you're muted.
Okay. Now we can't hear you. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Just type out your thing and I'll read it for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
In the
now she's
meantime,
frozen.
we've got like
Yeah.
5 minutes left of the episode.
Should we just carry on wrapping
Right.
up the?
We'll
Yeah.
carry
Yes.
on. We'll carry on. And if there's questions, then I can answer them after. You sense that people are actively against you in this, Eminora. I'm going to count that as a
Yes.
+1 for caster in the second round.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody else want to take any actions before the second round of voting happens?
No.
No.
Like, I'm good.
Oh my god, we can hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you. Say your piece.
Yeah, we can hear you too.
We can
I
hear
think
you
she
too.
can't hear us.
Did the pirate ask me? Why am I muted?
You're not
muted!
muted.
You're not muted.
Speak.
You just need to speak louder.
Speak.
Thanks.
It's fine. Speak.
Okay, she's typing to me. I will tell you what she says.
Okay. So the second round of
Okay.
voting begins.
Sorry, Gal. She said, did the pirate ask her to watch or convince people to vote for someone specific?
Just watch.
Just
Find
watch.
out who becomes next Salt Lord. So yeah. The second round of voting begins. Again, we see the same process of people writing down their votes on slips of paper and putting them into the box, and the vote counting happened this time with just Caster and Roku to make sure. And then at the end of everything, the halfling steps forward and says, "Final votes have been cast. North Pools goes to Caster Paleleaf. South Pools goes to Roku. Three Bridges goes to Caster Paleleaf. Gold Vale is a draw.
Ooh.
And Cascade goes to Caster Paleleaf.
Yes!
By a margin of 1, we have elected Caster Paleleaf as the next Salt Lord of Yokai. And he kind of like
I start
goes
like
down.
clapping really slowly.
Yeah, there's a large amount of clapping. You can see all of the politicians are clapping and look pretty happy. Caster turns to Roku and immediately extends a hand to kind of shake hers, and Roku takes it graciously. And Caster kind of steps forward. he gets a kind of sash placed upon him by the halfling fellow that has the same symbol that you saw before of the cape, of the kind of like diamond stylized fish, and you can see like he's just starting to tear up like a little bit, and as the applause continues, the room begins to get kind of like a bit of a party atmosphere. Even Koshka looks like he's kind of perking up a little bit. And everybody make a perception check, please.
God damn it.
See what we perceive.
Or not, as the case may be.
Protect him.
Will they kill him?
Okay, and Odie, can you make a perception check for me as well, please?
She said she's on a bit of a delay. I've just messaged her, so hopefully she...
Okay, cool.
There we go.
Perception. Okay. So, Emanora, you are the first to notice. The room has been quite warm this entire time. People have been kind of dancing around. It begins to get kind of like more energetic. This room is warmer than it should be. It is
burning.
getting hot. And as you look up, you can see the thatched roof above you is on fire. And that is where we're going to end tonight's episode.
Okay.
Oh, gold.
So,
Uh-oh.
thank you very much for watching, everybody. Apologies for technical difficulties, as always. Hopefully we'll be able to fix some of these next time, and we'll be able to get some more time with our new druid friend without the internet getting in the way. So, just as always, to say that we are associated with and presented by Horsham Gamers. We are a local group. We cover the whole range of gaming, through from tabletop and roleplay stuff like this, through to esports, competitive gaming, board gaming, anything you can think of it's related to gaming and nerd culture. We're into it too, and we'd love to meet you, and we'd love to get you involved in some of the great stuff we've got going on here at Horsham Gamers. So you can find us on Facebook at Horsham Gamers. On Discord, our Discord server on Horsham Gamers is where we do the majority of our kind of chats, and you can also follow us on Twitter at Horsham Gamers. It's all pretty simple, it's all the same stuff. So, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you back next week for episode 20 of Tales of Escuria. Thank you very much, guys, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey.